Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. So it is our second day. We're back at the tavern where the murder occurred. We're here to investigate now and hopefully bring some proper evidence back to the next stage of the trial and win the case, hopefully. You arrive back at the McCoy Tavern. Luckily for you, the Inquisition set up a teleportation circle for you to use. With that circle, you could magically teleport between the capital and the crime scene instantaneously. It's definitely miles better than having to travel by carriage.
Oh, it's you. What are you doing here?
Commander White takes notice of you as you enter the tavern. It looks like he's working with a team of knights to investigate the crime scene. I'm the defense attorney in this case. I've just as much right to investigate this crime scene as you do.
Yeah, whatever. Just remember, I got my eye on you, kid.
Let's talk to him, first of all. Let's see what he's got to say. I was wondering if I could ask you some questions about the case.
Ha! As if I'd help the likes of you. I saw who your boss is and I know what you're up to.
That witch probably sent you here to con me. What? I'm just looking for some information.
Likely story.
He was cooperative before when he let you see Celeste. Why is he being so stubborn now? Is he angry that you embarrassed him in court today? In any case, you won't get anywhere at this rate. If you want his help, you'll need to persuade him through an argument. Okay. Psychological profiles. It helps to prepare before starting an argument with someone. Talk to Orim or present items to him to build a psychological profile. If you successfully fill the profile gauge, you'll receive more information during any arguments against him. Okay. What can we examine? Oh, we're going to examine the crime scene first. Maybe that probably makes sense, doesn't it? I don't know if we can... Just pressing various buttons to see if it shows the hotspots. It doesn't, so we'll have to waggle the mouse around a little bit. But let's start over here. The Inquisition lit some candles, but there's a magical lamp right there. I wonder if they're not using those instead. So we've looked at that. What about these? There's a modern-looking lamp mounted on the wall. It's a lamp powered by artificery. I didn't expect to find something this sophisticated in a town like this.
Artificery is just another form of magic.
Actually, artificery draws from surrounding ley lines to...
I didn't ask for a science lesson, kid. Anyways, look where artificery got these folks. The Arcane power cell broke and they haven't had any power for weeks. Yep, nothing can beat good old oil and flame.
Okay, we've got a clue. The McCoy Inn is outfitted with several lamps powered by artificery. However, the Arcane power cell has been broken for weeks and the lamps can't be turned on. Okay, could be useful knowledge. What about the painting? It's a painting of a man in a suit. There's some text on it. Adam Evely, politician of the Pedantic.
I've heard of this guy. He's some kind of politician from one of the nations west of here. I heard he's pretty much a shoo-in to win whatever election they have going there.
An election? Was Flintheart studying democracies for his little revolution? Let's look at the other painting. It's a painting of a mage, and there's some text on it. Samala Dalian, a legendary practitioner of the arcane arts. He mysteriously disappeared one day. It's rumoured that he was developing a formula for a new transmutation spell. However, he was reckless in casting it, and Dalian quickly lost control of its magic. His body was never found. Many speculate that he didn't actually die during the accident, but if that's true, where did he end up?
Sounds like a cautionary tale against using magic.
That might explain why Flintheart keeps it in his tavern. I suppose we should look at the murder scene. There's a chalk outline of a person on the ground of the tavern. This is probably where Flintheart died. The outline matches the picture that the Inquisition took. Nothing seems out of place here. What about this? There's a broken bottle on the floor. It's shattered close to the chalk outline of the body. The label has the words lotus juice on it.
I've never heard of that brand before. Must be foreign.
The shattered remains of a glass bottle. You found it next to Flintheart McCoy's body. The label says the words lotus juice. Okay, what else have we got? Might be it for the scene. Okay, let's go back and maybe we'll present some objects to him. We could ask him about everything, really. What do you think of this, huh? What do you think about... Yeah, exactly. What do you think about this?
I don't know what you're expecting me to say. Not much to say about that.
It'd be best to try something else. Yeah, we'll ask him about everything. What about the autopsy? The autopsy report seems to be pretty detailed in some aspects and vague in others. Why is that?
I'm not sure about the details, but the autopsy is performed by a mage who studies divination. Yeah, magic gives us details about how someone dies, but there's always a few blind spots.
Blind spots? Like what?
Well, for one thing, if someone mucks around with the body after death, the report becomes muddled. Divination magic can tell what happened to a body, but not in what order and at what times.
But someone definitely stabbed Flynn Hart's body with Celeste's sword. If what he's saying is true, it'll be that much harder to figure out what kind of weapon originally killed him. Okay, what about the sword?
The mage's sword really is strange. It's almost a shame that we had to confiscate it.
Is it really that abnormal?
It's definitely not like any kind of sword I've seen. I wonder if it was forged in the Eastern Kingdoms.
Okay, we don't know about those. We can view the picture. Here we go. So, what are we looking at here? What's this thing? So we got, obviously that's the sword blade. Is that part of the hilt of the sword? If so, what's this stuff? I don't know. It's a bit jumbled to me. Okay, we'll leave that for now. Let's present the evidence, though. What do you think about this? Okay, it doesn't know what to say about the crime scene photo. Fine. What about her compendium? I've never seen a real spell compendium before. I'm still not exactly sure how they work.
Well, spell compendiums are magical devices that display exactly which spells a mage can cast. You can probably guess, but the Inquisition uses these things all the time.
Right. Having that information is definitely a blessing for the defense and the prosecution. Okay. What about the broken power cell? This place has been without power for about a week. I wonder if there's any information I can infer from that.
They've been using candles to keep the place lit. This is exactly why you can't rely on magic.
Okay, we don't seem to be building up any psychological profile at the moment. I wonder what lotus juice is.
It's definitely not any drink I've heard of. It must be some kind of imported brand.
Okay, well, he said that before. What about just talking to him? Let's talk about the Inquisition. So, what does the Arcane Inquisition do exactly?
You trying to pick a fight with me?
No, I'm just genuinely curious.
Well, I'm sure you already know, but us Inquisitors investigate crimes that involve magic.
Do crimes like this happen often?
Nah, well, maybe once in a blue moon.
Makes sense. Most mages are in the nobility, after all. Even if they're untouchable, they don't make a habit of getting into trouble with the law. You must have an easy job, then.
Well, you got that right. The only reason we exist is to clean up the nobility's messes.
He doesn't seem very pleased about that. Yeah, he doesn't seem that happy about that. Cool, okay, well that's helped that. What about mages? Commander White, you seem to speak negatively about my client's magic. Do you have a personal grudge against mages?
You're damn right I do.
Wow, he didn't even try to deny it.
And if you had any sense, you would too. All a mage has to do is wave their hands and say some magic nonsense. Then you suddenly have a dead body on the ground. And don't get me started on mage blight. If some noble uses their magic too much, they end up snapping and going on a rampage.
I don't know if this is going too far, but why join the Inquisition if you hate mages so much? Considering the fact that,
that my job is to sweep the nobility's crimes under the rug?
Sorry, I didn't mean to insinuate.
Nah, you have the right of it. Anytime a noble is involved in a case, I'm ordered to look the other way.
You don't seem very happy to do that. Why would you stay in this line of work?
Because every once in a while I'm allowed to put a criminal mage behind bars. We can't go after the nobles, but any other mage is fair game. Or at least, they were before your boss showed up.
Your boss? Does he have something against Miss Tamora? We can press him on that point. I have to ask, did something happen between you and Miss Tamora?
Ah, Miss Tamora. What are you, a lackey or something?
No, actually, she's my guardian.
Oh, I didn't know she even had a... Look, kid, I don't know what the deal is between you two. No good will ever come from associating with her.
This is about the rumors, isn't it? Throughout the years, there have been several insidious rumors surrounding Miss Tamora. She's been accused of forgery, blackmail, and all manner of illegal activities. It's clearly misinformation spread by the nobility to discredit her. She's always been fine with it, but you can't help but get angry on her behalf.
It's more than just rumors, I've seen it for myself. That woman is evil, kid.
She defends mages who don't have the protection of the nobility. She's not evil, she's a hero.
Yeah, whatever.
Orin White's psychological profile is complete. Okay, so I suppose we just go into the argument, right? Commander White seems unusually hostile towards you, and you have a feeling it's not just because you embarrassed him in court today. If you can clear up this misunderstanding, you might be able to convince him to help. Yes. Argument. Alright, I'm just going to come out and say it. Do you have a problem with me, Commander White?
You should know exactly what my problem is with you. I saw who you work for. Do I have to spell it out for you?
Tamora is a crooked lawyer.
Or does your boss not tell you what she gets up to?
Elocutions in arguments. Arguments are not always fought using hard evidence. Sometimes you need to elocute to convince your opponent that their claim is wrong. When prompted for an elocution, choose from one of the 3 possible responses. The correct response can be gleaned from reading your opponent's psychological profile. Okay, let's have a look at his then. Commander White is stubborn and stuck in his ways. He seems to have a grudge against Ruby Tamora and will react negatively if you try to defend her. However, he will respect you if you defend yourself against personal attacks. Okay, let's leave that open. You have no right, so he's not going to respect us if we try and defend her. Maybe we should deflect, because that's kind of defending me a bit more. Regardless of what Miss Tamora has done, I'm the one heading this case. Whatever problems you have with her, they have nothing to do with me.
Yeah, that still doesn't change the fact that you work for her. I've seen that woman do all kinds of shady shit in the cases I've worked. Forgery, bribery, blackmail, you name it.
You're just another crook.
I'll bet you're just the same. A successor for the devil of defense attorneys.
So we could defend ourselves here. So let's defend her. I'm not Ruby Tamora. It doesn't matter if the rumors are true or not. Regardless of what you've seen her do, I'm going to run an honest case.
Look, kid, I'd like nothing more than believe you. But after everything I've seen her do, I know better.
I have no reason to trust you.
Anyone taught by that woman can't be anything more than a crook.
We can try rationalizing now. Or maybe go for deflect again. Let's try deflect. Nothing like... Right now I'm just a defense attorney that's asking you for information. Nothing that I've done has given you any kind of reason to suspect me. There, we won. Argument 1. There we go.
Yeah, you just want some info, right?
Yeah, that's all I'm asking for.
Alright, I'll answer your questions. Just don't make me regret this.
You've successfully persuaded Orin White. So we just go into talk, I suppose, yeah? Murder weapon. This probably goes without saying, but I don't believe that the sword is the murder weapon.
Right, I guess you have to prove that someone else put the sword there.
Did the Inquisition find anything suspicious on the scene?
If you're asking if we found another bloody weapon lying around, we definitely didn't.
That would be a little too convenient, wouldn't it?
But let's say that the girl really is being framed. If there was another murder weapon, the killer probably walked out with it.
Do you think they could have hidden it somewhere in the tavern?
Doubt it. Out of the trial, Steelwind turned the place upside down and scanned it with her magic. If someone did hide a murder weapon here, they hid it well.
Or they hid it in plain sight. I'm wondering about that picture that's got the transmutation stuff on it, which we know transmutation magic was detected on the body. Alright, Orim's mistake. I can't believe you made such an obvious mistake during your investigation.
Nah, shut it with that. I already got an earful from Steelwind about that mess. Well, you don't have to worry about me mucking things up. Steelwind's basically taken over the entire investigation.
Wait, does she have the authority to do that?
Normally she wouldn't, but I know better than to go against orders from a noble.
Right, there's definitely a strange power dynamic between them.
But honestly, that girl sweats the details too much. She even had my men draw up a scaled map of the crime scene.
Wait, really? Do you have a copy?
Sure, knock yourself out. Don't know how much good it'll do you.
I'll have a look at that in a bit. We can have a look at it now. Oh, that's not... We probably want to go on present. So let's have a look at the map. Okay. Doesn't show where the body was, though, is the only thing. Shows distance from the door to... let's ask him about it. I can't believe the prosecutor's going into this much detail for her case.
It's a real headache. Did you know that this map is scaled? It's got a legend and everything.
Wow, the prosecutor must be pretty particular. We can also talk about the spells and people, so let's run through those with him. Let's talk about Mage Blade. What do you think about this? Oh, he doesn't know much about that. Okay. Let's go through the various people involved. So let's ask about me.
I never knew Tamora had a kid. Why have I never seen you before?
I tend to stay inside a lot. As a child, you couldn't control the Eye of Horus that well. Hearing the myriad of thoughts from the large crowds tended to be overwhelming for you.
I've only ever seen her as a ruthless lawyer. It's hard to imagine a woman like that taking care of a kid.
Well, she was just as ruthless as a guardian. What about... I think we know his thoughts on her, but let's talk about it anyway. I have to ask... Okay. Well, those are lines he's actually said previously, so that's fine. Just skipping through this, we've seen all this already. Hang on, back. So, what about Flintheart? What do you think about this? Oh, he doesn't know much about Flintheart. Okay. What about Celeste?
I never expected a girl like that to be a mercenary. But I would have also never expected her to be a murderer either.
She's not a murderer, and I'll prove it at the trial tomorrow.
Yeah, whatever you say, kid.
What about... You can ask him about himself. No, he doesn't know what to say about himself. Fair enough. And then there's Steelwind. I heard that this was Prosecutor Steelwind's first trial. She must be pretty talented if that's true.
Pain in my ass is what she is. A damn noble comes in here telling me how to do my job? I honestly have no idea what she's even doing in this line of work.
She's a mage from a noble house, isn't she? She must be a pretty powerful mage.
Powerful is an understatement. Any one of the Steelwinds could turn this entire town into a glass crater.
What? There's no way that's true, right? Let's just keep going down, so we'll talk about Steelwind now. Oh, okay, so we'll tick that off in the talk menu. Obviously this is lines that we just had. But what does it all mean? There's no murder weapon to be found, and there's no obvious evidence of another person at the scene.
Hey, you okay? You got quiet all of a sudden.
Alright, just focus. Close your eyes and let everything else disappear from the world.
Hey, you listening?
So there's no clear evidence pointing to another killer. There is, however, evidence pointing to how Flintheart moved before his death.
What?
What can we tell about how Flintheart died? There's no blood trail leading to or from the body. What does this imply about the location of Flintheart's death? The killer... maybe... didn't move... Oh. Maybe Flintheart didn't move after the murder? No, there was no blood where Flintheart's body, blood trail where Flintheart's body is. The lack of a blood trail tells us something important, namely where Flintheart was throughout the murder. Alright, how about the killer attacked Flintheart before the murder? Well, obviously during the murder. I mean, I didn't move... I want to say the killer didn't move the body, but what could we know about how Flintheart... The killer didn't move after the murder. It's got to be Flintheart didn't move after the murder, no? No, okay. Yeah, what... We know him... Oh, maybe didn't move during the murder? During, is that what we're trying to say? Ah, Flintheart died where he was attacked. He didn't move from his position at all.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
There's also the autopsy report, which says that he died from a stab from behind. He was probably caught off guard and was too incapacitated to move anywhere else. This means that the attack happened at the exact position he fell over. Oh, we've updated the map. Okay, that's cool. There's also the shattered bottle of lotus juice. How did the bottle shatter? Well, obviously he dropped it. I doubt it means anything, but the shattered bottle is right next to the body. Yeah, so Flintheart dropped the bottle during the attack, right? Flintheart dropped the bottle when he was attacked. From that, we can infer that he was holding it the moment before he was attacked. Okay, updated.
What's so strange about one bottle, though?
It may seem like an insignificant detail, but that detail could help me infer other elements of what happened during the murder.
Right.
There's also the fact that the artificery lights were out. Were these candles here when you arrived at the crime scene, Orin?
No, we had to light some so we could see the crime scene properly. We thought it was weird, too. The girl and her father must have had their argument in pitch-black darkness.
What can we infer about the state of the crime scene? So they didn't light any candles to make up for the broken lights. The crime scene had no lighting before the murder. Oh, okay. Oh. Maybe had no witnesses during the murder? Oh. Town had no lighting during the murder. Oh, okay. Is this technically the basement? The basement had no lighting. No. Okay, what are we trying to say here? Oh, hang on. Before the murder? No. After? No. It's quite pedantic that the crime scene had no lighting during the murder. I thought I said that one already. Yeah, so we know that. The argument that Celeste had with Flintheart must have been spontaneous. They weren't planning to have a conversation in this room. In this darkness, Flintheart wouldn't have a lot of visibility. If he was stabbed from behind, he probably didn't see it coming. He was clearly surprised and probably in too much shock to run away. Also, the bottle may seem insignificant, but he was holding it when he was attacked. Maybe he was pouring a drink for himself, or maybe it was for a visitor. Either way, the assailant must have been unseen by Flintheart.
The kid?
Well, the assailant attacked him from his blind spot while his back was turned. But why would his back be turned? Was he distracted by something?
Kid!
What?
What was that all about?
Sorry, sometimes I just get lost in my own thoughts.
Yeah, well, cut it out. You're freaking me out.
Right, okay. Anyways, you think you found everything you can here. You should move somewhere else. Okay. So we can go to the courthouse, the barracks, or upstairs. Let's try upstairs. If people keep seeing you here, they're going to start asking questions. Leave the investigation to me. All you have to do is stay quiet until this trial's over. While heading upstairs, you spot the prosecutor having a conversation with someone. They seem to be in some kind of argument.
Enough. I will do as I see fit. You may be a Steelwind, but this is my land.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're that defense attorney from the trial.
I am? I'm sorry, but who...
Ah, how rude of me. My name is Lord Garrick Pierce, the ruling noble of this land.
Okay. And also the killer.
As the ruling noble, I suppose I should thank you for playing your role in the current trial, as misguided as it may be.
I suppose that you also think my client is guilty?
It does not matter what I think. This entire scandal has done nothing but rile up the common folk. Magic is a gift for the nobility, and the nobility alone. It is a symbol of the aristocracy and our divine right to rule. And now that bastard child has tainted that symbol in the public eye.
All of that has nothing to do with her. She's just an innocent woman who got wrapped up in all of this.
Even if she is innocent, the charges have been laid and made public.
Okay, so he's 38, fine, but his arcane art is also transmutation, we notice.
Someone must take the fall, lest the public accuse the justice system of corruption.
So you're saying that she should be found guilty even if she's innocent?
What do you suppose will happen if she's acquitted? All the public will see is a mage going free despite a myriad of evidence. That alone would be enough to cause public outrage. Tensions between the aristocracy and the common folk are high enough as it is. What is one insignificant girl when compared to the stability of our great kingdom?
That's enough. Stop antagonizing M. Pierce. I can't refute what he said, but I don't agree with it. What? The system should be based on truth and justice, not on public opinion. Then why are you working against my client? Do you honestly think she's the kind of person that would kill her father? It doesn't matter what kind of person she appears to be. The evidence clearly points to her as the only possible killer. But you should fight according to your own ideals, just as I will fight for mine. It's hard to get a read on that woman. Yeah, let's examine stuff. So we got a door. Several doors lead to guest rooms. Aside from the rooms that you and Miss Tamori use, they don't look like they've been open for quite some time. Oops, one there. There are some candles lighting up the hallway. They look like they used to be part of the old architecture. There's a door at the end of the hallway. It looks like it's seen some use recently. You try to open the door, but it seems to be locked. Perhaps someone might have a key to open it. Okay, just a quick scan up the floor. Alright, so if we go back... So I can't ask Arya if she's got the key to that door. That's interesting. Unless we go back downstairs, maybe Orim will? Talk. Present? Do we have anything new? Let's have a look at the map now. So we do actually have the body now on the map, so that's cool. Can we ask him about that again? No, he doesn't know much about it. Okay. Oh, hang on. There was something there I hadn't looked at previously. Not sure what it was. See it now. Maybe it was just a little bug, a little visual glitch maybe that quickly got covered up by the fact that I have examined it. Okay, well let's go to the barracks. Okay, talk to the prisoner maybe. You return to the cell that Celeste is being kept in. The ambient despair in the air fills your mind like a horrendous stench. You do your best to ignore the emotions of the other prisoners, but you haven't had much practice blocking out this many people. As you arrive, you see Celeste huddled down in a corner. As soon as she sees you, her dour mood seems to lift, if only for a moment. Oh, hi, Mr. Cuthbert. There's no need to address me so formally, just call me Tyrion. Okay. Anyways, I came in to ask you some questions about the case. Right. Well, let's go through the evidence first. So, what does she think about the autopsy? You probably shouldn't show this to her, she's already been through enough. Alright, fine. What about her sword? There's a pretty strange sword, I've never seen anything like it. Do you like it? It's a souvenir I got while I was travelling the Eastern Kingdoms. Wait, you've been to the Eastern Kingdoms? I thought Wivengard had a strict policy preventing people from crossing the border. Well, I didn't exactly enter legally. You quickly glance at the guard of the cell. He doesn't seem to be listening. Please don't make a habit of telling people that. You're in enough trouble as it is. Yeah. Okay, so actually, yeah, okay, so it does have that weird symbol just above the hilt, so that was reflected in the crime scene image, so let's have another look at that. So what is this thing? That's not part of it, is it? Because it's kind of... It's in front of the hilt of the weapon. Now, this is hilt, and that goes off down there. That's the thing in the centre. Or is it? I don't know. Maybe it'll become relevant. Right, I guess we can't ask her about that. We could ask her about the wine, maybe. Oh. Okay, she doesn't want to hear about that. What about this? I didn't expect to find artificery in a village like yours. Yeah, I bought it for my family to make their lives easier. I think it just made things more complicated. Yeah, without an arcane power cell, those lights aren't very useful. Let's just talk to her then, the trial. I'm sorry for freezing up like that. I almost lost us at the trial. No, there's no need to apologise. You did great. But it was only thanks to her. If she hadn't calmed you down, who knows what would have happened. But I still don't understand, though. Why were there traces of magic on my dad's body? Right, there's traces of magic were on the sword and the body. Magical traces are particles of magical residue that are left behind when a mage casts a spell. They only linger for around 48 hours, and that gives you a rough timeline of when and where a spell is cast. Did you cast Mage Blade on your sword that day? I did. I usually cast it when I train in the morning. That explains why there was a trace on the sword, at least.
Did the trace on my sword leave the magical trace on my dad's body?
No, magical traces can't be moved around physically. For a spell to leave a trace, it has to be active when physical contact is made.
Really? Then what does that mean?
Well, whatever killed your father had a transmutation spell active on it at the time. The magical trace on your sword was just an unlucky coincidence.
I can't believe this.
Okay, what about her dad? Could you tell me more about your father?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I know this must be difficult after everything that's happened.
No, it's okay. If it helps you, I'll try my best to answer your questions.
Were you two close?
We were. I'm sure you know this by now, but I was adopted by him and my mum. But even though I didn't have their blood, they treated me as if I did. He loved me with all his heart until...
Until what? Until he died. Does this have something to do with the argument they had? Can we... Okay, yeah. I'm sorry to say this, but could I hear your argument from my... but I could hear your argument from my room that night. Could you tell me more about what happened?
For as long as I can remember, my dad has hated mages. I'm not sure why, but if you even mentioned magic around him, he'd fly into a rage. So I hid my magic from my family.
But why even learn magic in the first place? If you really wanted to, you could have gone your whole life without using it.
Ever since our tavern closed, my family's been in a lot of debt. I decided to become a mercenary and use magic to enhance my ability to fight. Most mages are in the nobility, so people will pay a lot for a sellsword who can use magic.
So that's why she's a mercenary. Okay, so we've updated her occupation.
But I know now, learning magic was the biggest mistake I've ever made. On that night, my dad found my spell compendium. When he confronted me about it, I finally came clean to him. That's when he flew into another one of his rages. He shouted at me, told me I'd betrayed him and his family.
I'm so sorry, I can't imagine how that must have felt.
I deserved every bit of it. I knew how much he hated magic, but I learned to use it anyway. He showed me so much love and I just threw it all away.
Don't say that, I'm sure he still loved you.
No, I could see it in his eyes. He hated me.
And he died hating me. Bleak. You feel a sharp pain in your chest as you see that thought. What about the locked door? So, there's a locked door in the tavern. It's at the very end of the hallway upstairs. The Inquisition probably searched it already, but I just wanted to investigate it to make sure.
A locked room at the end of the hallway? I think that's my room.
Do you know how I could get in there? It's the only room in the tavern that I haven't investigated. You feel a suspicious gaze from Celeste. What's that look for? I'm your lawyer, I'm not going to do anything weird.
Sorry, you're right. Here, you can use this key to get inside.
Ah, nice. So that's it for the topics. We could present... You can ask her again about the spell. Mage Blade.
It's a spell that magically sharpens my sword so it can cut through plate armor.
Cut through all kind of things. Oh,
trees, boulders, ballista, fortified gates. Cuts through most of those things like butter.
You start to wonder what kind of life she led before this case. Okay, we could talk about... Does she know Garrett Pierce? Can you tell me more about this? Oh, she doesn't know about him. What about... What does she think of Steelwind? She doesn't really think anything about that. What about Orim? No, she doesn't really know anything about those. Okay, I think that we've got the relevant stuff off her. We've got the key now anyway, so we should move back to... Oh, hang on, we can go straight to our bedroom, so let's do that. You use the key to enter Celeste's room. However, you're startled when you notice that someone else is already inside.
I've already told you, Knights, everything that I know. What more do you... Oh, aren't you Celeste's attorney?
I am? Who are you?
Oh, how rude of me. I'm Jolene McCoy. I'm Celeste's mother.
Oh.
I was at the trial this morning. I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done for my daughter.
So this is Celeste's mother. She might be able to tell you more about Flintheart. About that, do you mind if I ask you some questions for my investigation?
Of course,
Okay, so she's a McCoy. So let's retcon her Scottish accent.
Of course, I'll do anything. I'll do anything to help.
I want to investigate the scene first. Let's have a look at the picture. It's a painting of a woman with some sort of aquatic animal.
Oh, I love that painting. Celeste brought it back from her travels. Supposedly that woman is named Madeline Kipling. From what I've heard, she runs a wildlife sanctuary for endangered species. I think the animal in this painting is called a faekip. Celeste told me that she really likes them.
That's interesting. You weren't aware that these kinds of creatures even existed. Is a table with several chairs. It must be used for entertaining guests. It doesn't look like it's seen much use. It's a door leading to the upstairs hallway. Okay, what about the bed? It's a fancy looking bed. Celeste had it custom made. Wouldn't something like this be really expensive? It was. I was really surprised when she returned from her travels. Apparently she was making a lot of gold from her job as a mercenary. Wow, you and Flintheart must have been happy for her. We are, but I still wish she'd get a less dangerous job. There's the rug. Can't do that. I think that's probably it for the scene. Let's just talk to her. Flintheart, can you tell me why your husband hated mages so much? I understand most people dislike the nobility and associate magic with them. But on that night, it's like he was furious at Celeste specifically because she was a mage. Oh, you must have talked to Celeste. I wasn't there when that argument happened, but I can only imagine what he said to her. Do you know what happened to him? Why does he hate magic so much? Celeste didn't know about this, but years ago, Flintheart had a sister named Effie. When we were all children, we were friends with a boy named Garrick Pierce. Oh. He was the son of the ruling noble at the time. Garrick Pierce? Isn't that the nobleman that was speaking with Steelwind earlier? We were all inseparable at the time. He'd always sneak into town to play with us against his family's wishes. They probably weren't too happy about that. He was quite rebellious back then, but he's a completely different person now. But everything changed when Garrick began learning how to use magic. One day, when we were playing together, he wanted to show off the spells that he'd learned. He was told not to use his magic without his instructor there, but he was just too excited. He began casting his spells, but something went horribly wrong. He lost control of his magic and fatally wounded Effie. We tried bringing her back into town, but by that time it was too late. She was already gone. I'm sorry, that must have been traumatizing for all of you. The next day, the Arcane Inquisition came to investigate what happened. House Pierce used their connections to cover up what happened. They even threatened Flintheart's family into keeping quiet. After that, the official story was that Effie had been mauled by a wolf. Oh, that's not surprising. The nobility seldom takes responsibility for their actions, even for a mistake like that. So we've updated his profile. Flintheart's sister died during an accident involving Garrick Pierce and his magic. Ever since then, he's hated magic and the mages who wield it. Something changed in Flintheart after that. He began speaking out against the nobility. Eventually, he started hosting the rallies in this very tavern. Each night, more and more people began listening to his words and joining his cause. The number of people that he'd gotten under his banner was terrifying. There was even talk of an outright revolution against the kingdom. That might explain why someone would go out of their way to kill him. I knew how much danger he was putting himself in, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't convince him to stop. His attitude didn't even begin to change until we adopted Celeste. Can you tell me more about Celeste? How did she become a part of your family? Well, it all happened many years ago, back when the McCoy Tavern was still open. We were closing one night when we found a baby with white hair abandoned in the dining area. We waited weeks for her parents to come by, but no one ever came looking for her. And that baby was Celeste? Aye, Flintheart and I always wanted a child. I thought that Celeste must have been a gift from the Scale Lord. But one day I saw Celeste practicing her magic. I think that's when I realised that someone from the nobility must have abandoned her at our inn. I didn't care though. I loved her all the same. I'm sure Flintheart did too. Wait, you knew that she was a mage all this time?
I did. You haven't known her very long, but she's a terrible liar. Flintheart must have noticed it too, but I think that he didn't want to believe it.
It's my fault. I should have forced him to see the truth. I spoke with Celeste earlier. She thinks that her father hated her because she was a mage.
There's no way he would ever feel that way. He loved her more than anything in the world. No matter what he said to her that night, nothing would ever change that.
After seeing them together, you figured as much.
Celeste was the world to him. When we adopted her, it was the first time in decades that I'd seen him so genuinely happy.
They must have been really close.
More than anything. Do you want to hear a story? Celeste had just returned from her travels. She wouldn't have stopped talking about this foreign drink that she loved. I think it was called lotus juice or something strange like that. Well, Flintheart did everything he could to have it shipped here. He called in a bunch of favours with some of his revolutionary friends. But in the end, he was only able to get a single bottle of it.
Is it really that rare?
Aye, I wouldn't be surprised if it were the only bottle of lotus juice in the region.
Wait a minute, lotus juice? Is this the bottle that Flynnheart bought? You show her a picture of the shattered bottle that you found next to Flynnheart's body.
Oh, it is? Oh no, he was going to surprise her with that.
I found the broken pieces next to Flynnheart's, well, I found them in the dining area.
Oh, that's strange. He'd been keeping it in our room so she wouldn't find it.
Really? When was the last time you saw it?
Right before I left the house that night. It was right before their big argument.
So it wasn't just laying around in the bar. He decided to retrieve it after the argument. He wanted to make amends. Clearly. Alright, you think you've investigated everything you can for now, but there's still one last thing you need to do. You ready yourself for one last conversation with Celeste. Okay, so we can't... Okay, so it's saying... Okay, well, it's telling us to go back to the barracks. That's fine. Okay, well, let's go back to the barracks then.
Oh, you're back. Did you forget something?
Actually, there's one last thing I wanted to talk to you about.
Oh?
Earlier you said something that I just can't let go. You said that your father died hating you? But after everything I heard about him, I don't think that's true. Your father loved you, Celeste, even in his final moments. You desperately want to reach her. If she keeps believing that he hated her, that thought will eat away at her for the rest of her life. You know that better than anyone. He's just lying to make me feel better. But it looks like it won't be that simple. You'll need to win an argument against her if you want to see the truth. Well, it's not saying... I haven't got the psychological profile thing, but let's go into this. Celeste believes that her father died hating her, but after seeing them together and learning about them, you know that can't possibly be true. You just need to convince her of that. Yeah, sure.
Argument!
I know you're just lying to make me feel better, and I really do appreciate it. But everyone knows that my father hated mages.
He's always hated magic, there's no reason behind it. Yes, this one. Present evidence about the sister. I don't know if it's my place to say this, but there is a reason why your father hated magic so much.
What?
When Flynnheart was a child, he had a younger sister. She was tragically killed by a mage decades ago. That's why he had such an immense hatred for magic.
I never knew.
But that doesn't change anything.
That's all the more reason for him to have hated me.
It was selfish of me to learn magic.
I knew how much he hated magic, but I still learned to use it anyway. Magic killed someone that he loved. No wonder he was furious.
It was selfish of me to learn magic. Yeah, so if we look at this is saying that she wasn't selfish. She learned magic so she could support her family. There we go. But you didn't learn magic to benefit yourself, did you? You learned it to save your family after your tavern was shut down.
That's...
You're a good person, Celeste, and you did everything you could to help your family. I'm sure your father recognized that.
Just shut up.
What?
Shut up, just stop it.
Whatever composure she had before is slowly breaking down.
You weren't there, you didn't hear what he said to me.
In his final moments, he could only think of how I betrayed him.
I could see it in his eyes. There's no way he would ever forgive me.
Well, that's the bottle. Take a look at this picture, Celeste.
What? A shattered bottle? Wait, is that a bottle of lotus juice?
Do you know where I found this? On the floor of your family's inn.
What? That can't be true. I tried to find it here, but no one sells it in Wivengard.
Your father knew how much you loved this drink. He called in quite a few favours just so he could have it imported for you.
What? He did that?
Your father didn't hate you, Celeste. He loved you more than anything.
That doesn't change anything. If he did all that for me, it was before he knew about my secret. I'm sure he never could have done that if he knew the truth.
That's not true at all.
What the hell would you know about him? You barely even knew him. How could you possibly know how he felt about me? Don't you think I want to believe that he still loved me before he died? But I know the truth. There's no way he would ever forgive me for what I did.
It's not just the fact that he bought the drink for you. It's also where the bottle was when it shattered.
What do you mean?
Your mother said that the bottle was stowed in her room before your argument, but I found the shattered bottle in the lobby where his body was. I ran into him before I went to look for you. He was going upstairs to his room. That can only mean one thing. He went to retrieve the bottle after your argument ended.
What? Why would he have it?
It's because he was going to give it to you, Celeste. He was going to give you a gift to apologize for what he said to you.
He was going to apologize?
Your father loved you, Celeste. And as tragic as it is, he was going to try to apologize to you before he was murdered.
Oh.
I didn't like this. My daughter working as a mercenary of all things.
Come on, Dad. You know I can handle myself.
I do not doubt it. But as you still shouldn't risk your neck for our sakes.
They closed the inn, Dad. We won't be able to survive unless I do this.
Just be careful, okay? I didn't know what I'd do if anything happened to you. No matter what anyone else says, you're our daughter. And we'll love you until the day we die.
Dad, how can I ever think that... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Dad.
Celeste had barely been keeping it together throughout the whole argument, but her realization is finally causing her to break down. She begins crying loudly as she quickly embraces you. In this cold, dark place, she probably hadn't felt the warmth of any kind for days. You're caught off guard and feel a little embarrassed, but you comfort her while she vents her emotions. Are you feeling better?
Yeah, I think I'm okay now. I've been thinking such horrible things this entire time.
She looks at you and gives you a warm smile. It's probably the first time you've seen her genuinely smile since this whole ordeal started.
Thank you. But is everything really going to be okay?
I'll make sure of it. I'll get justice for you and your father. It doesn't matter who stands in my way, even if they're a man, king, or god.
You're completely different now. What happened to the nervous wreck from before?
Please forget about that. Anyway, take some time to rest. The trial is going to resume soon. With that, you've done everything you can for now. You've learned a lot about what happened the night of the murder. You just hope it's enough. But even with your investigation, you still don't know what the prosecution has planned. Okay, so I think we're heading into the trial, the second trial, or the second phase of the trial. I don't know quite how long it'll go on for, but I'd quite like to sort of feature that in a whole video, not sort of break it up in the courtroom, so I think we'll just leave it there for now. When we come back, we'll head in and lock horns with Arya Steelwind again and hopefully get our client freed. But thanks very much for watching this episode. Hope you enjoy the investigation phase of this anyway. I mean, I'm enjoying this a lot. It's definitely leaning heavily into sort of visual novel territory rather than detective game territory, but I like both. And it's quite good to piece things together. And in the courtroom, we'll have to choose, exactly which pieces of evidence and stuff to present to prove our arguments. So looking forward to that. I always enjoyed the courtroom scenes in Phoenix Wright. That was always the best part for me. But yeah, so just thanks very much for watching. As I said, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, if you could hit that thumbs up button, that's always appreciated. As would be leaving me a comment. Let me know what you thought about this second episode of Tyrion Cuthbert, or the game as a whole so far, any aspect of it you like. Just always good to hear your thoughts. And if you're watching this and haven't yet subscribed to the channel, it would be amazing if you could do so. So thanks very much, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.